30%. That is actually taking longer than I expected. And you know what I forgot? Man, and I wrote all this shit down. I wrote it all down because I know my brain. I know my brain. It ain't gonna cooperate with me. I ain't gonna remember everything I was thinking. See, this is where being unprepared is a problem. You have to give me a second. Shit. This ain't a good look. This ain't a good look. Okay. So, I wrote all this shit down because it's a fairly extensive list of shit. I don't even know if you can see that. So we got a new camera. I am very excited about. Came in today, and I've been just kind of tweaking with it. So let's get this. Nope. There we go. We ain't even gonna say what it is. It's just gonna be over there on Twitter, being all we going live type shit. I don't got the patience for it. I'm already upset at myself. The plan was to do a starting soon screen. That is not what ended up happening. I still got to get used to looking at this camera as opposed to the one that is just slightly above it. So I am... there we go. Forgot that we are... So the plan was to only do this on YouTube. That's apparently not happening. It would not let me sign out of OBS. I could have done this through my screen recording editing program. I like the little overlay we have around my head right here. It's kind of pretty. But that is besides the point. So we are going to do a very simple walkthrough. It is a lot to wrap your head around. So for starters, let me turn off this heat because it is hot as balls here. It is still very simple. The absolute basics. What's going on, Tree? Yeah. So this ended up being on Twitch and YouTube. That's just that's the way it's going. What do you think of the new camera? Shit's clean, right? Very happy with it. Took $30. $30. Couldn't go wrong. So look, it's a lot of stuff to wrap your head around. But we're going to get into the bare minimum of what you need to do if you want to have a decent YouTube video. And one thing that we're going to talk about that I don't use myself is transitions. I am not a big fan of transitions because they're all very, I don't know, stock. There's so many small editors like myself that will just use the ones that they give you in your system. So I was waiting until I had my own stuff. For instance, my redesigned logo, or not even redesigned, just kind of beefed up. And now that we have that, I might actually start trying to create my own transitions. So we're using an editing program that I've been using for a couple of years now, on and off, made by Cyberlinks, great company, and it's called Power Director. They're inexpensive. It's like a subscribe to use kind of deal. So you're talking $100 for the year, but you get, you get their Power Director for video editing. You get you get an audio director for obviously working with audio, photo director for that kind of thing. So they're very good programs. But the video editing programs that we're going to focus on. And what we are going to make sure that we do is, one, open it up, right? Now we're gonna keep checking this. This is how I know my CPU usage and my GPU usage. CPU is what I don't want to go above 80%. If it goes above 80%, my stream starts to suffer. But that's going to be important later when we start talking about things that keep your OBS streams from fucking going crazy and you lagging out. So I've got everything maxed out, overclocked a little bit. For the specific reason, the cooler your computer is, the smoother it's going to run, the least amount of percentage as far as GPU and CPU usage goes. So CPU is your computer's power and how much it can process at one time. If it overheats, things freak out. GPU is for your graphics. So that can actually go up to like 70, 80%, and you'll still be fairly smooth, depending on what your output at. If it's a 4K, you might, for one, you won't be doing this with a fucking laptop like I am. So we're going to leave that. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is when you're starting a new project. Mine already opens up with a new project. We don't got to worry about that. But you'll go into your file and importing. Now, if this sounds too complicated, don't worry. Much simpler way to do it. You just go right into your fucking computer. And here's where I do all of my raw vids. So this is just random shit. And you find whatever it is you want to work with. So what we're going to do right now is something fairly simple. We're going to make a very short video. And I'm going to transfer over an incident that me and my buddy had last night where we were running through a building trying to... Well, okay, he got stuck in the building, and I went to go save him, and then we went to go do a mission, and things went weird, and zombies ensued. So we'll go ahead and just drag and drop, and now that is in our library to be used. The other thing I want to grab is, and this is going to be, if you've ever been to my channel, you know anything about... I don't have a proper intro. So now we are going to bring over my new intro and my new outro. So I used to do, and it's something that I'm not going to record here. So we aren't going to go, we're going to go start to finish without the actual process of hitting produce. Because I'm still going to come back to this later and tweak it. This little video we're doing specifically about video editing might be 30, 45 minutes, an hour max. That is actually not enough time for me to make the quality of video I want, because we're really just going to talk about how you tweak things, where you put things, how a transition should work, and then when you go to, and this is important, when you go to produce it, that you make sure you put it in a file that you can find. Otherwise, you got to go searching through your computer, and at least with the editing software I use, I don't know where the fuck it saves the files automatically. If I don't put it in my ready-to-go YouTube file, I can't ever fucking find it unless I search through the whole computer using this nifty little bar here, but then you're waiting 5 minutes for it, depending on how big. It's just, it's a pain in the balls, all right? So we're just not going to get into that. But we've already dragged and dropped what we needed, right? So I got my new intro. We're going to go ahead and put that in here. And then we will bring down the video that we want to add to it. And then we will scroll out and we're going to grab our outro. So just very basic timeline shit. All right. And then, you know, you're going to want to look. What's going on, brother? You're going to want to look and make sure. So what was the first problem we had? First off, it loaded up and played the last clip that we put on. The reason why I did that is because we were not clicked on movie. If you're on clip, it is only going to read the clip. Right. Whenever you're ready. I'm sorry. I really like it, and I wanted to show it off all kind of right now here at the beginning. So that's what's going to be part of the beginning and end of all of our videos going forward. I'm really excited. My team is getting ready to be a part of the YouTube channel properly, so a lot more content coming out from everybody. Anyway, I digress. So if you're on clip, you are specifically focused on whatever clip you are clicked to. So it's only going to give you the time frame for it. This is what you're going to be tweaking on, what have you. So here's my issue. Right? This is kind of loud, so... Right. Whenever you're ready. Hang on. These are things that we can easily fix. So if I, for instance, want this to be lower, right? I'll click it. Now this little slide bar down here, you see it? It's a bit tiny, but you get your finger on it and you can actually change how loud or how quiet you want it. But I like to go directly into audio editor or audio ducking. Editor's probably better to go. It brings up a whole nother window for you. We can go into the dynamic volume control, and this little slide bar right here controls exactly how loud it's going to be. I can hit the preview, and now exactly how loud it's going to be. And now it's much quieter. So we jump up. Right. So it fades out, right? And then there's still, as far as I'm concerned, I want this to stay more or less where everything was for now. The big thing is I have the volume on everything in my head and on my computer turned all the way up. So how loud it is in my headphones isn't exactly going to translate to somebody's speakers. So you don't want it to be too loud. You also don't want it to be too quiet. So we'll go back into audio editing because I do want to just leave it at its standard. I just wanted to make sure that you guys saw that. Now doing that, I actually have to go back and then turn it back up because now it's standard where it was before. That middle bar where we either go above it or below it to raise it or lower it is when we left it there. That's the middle of the bar now. So we have to go all the way back up. And we get the sound out, that we originally had. So we leave it there. Here is where we are going to make the decision how much of this clip do we want to keep, right? Right. This is where things take a long fucking time. All right, because you have to go through every bit of it. You have to sit here and stare at it and listen. So as you can see, there's background music or background noise going on over my buddy's side. So there are people around him. You can hear what's going on. We are actually going to mask that, and we'll get to that in the next step. Right now, it's specifically about where do I want to start the video. After the intro, that weird-ass noise, kind of where I want to start my video. So I got to find exactly where I did that. Which is, God, quarter of a fucking, like a millisecond ahead of that. And we'll leave it there. Splitting a clip is very simple, at least with this program. All I got to do is right-click it. It has now split the clip from what we had, which was the original beginning of the video. And then, very simply, go to remove. You'll usually have, with most of the programs that I've used, you'll have this kind of drop menu. So you want to remove and leave the gap, remove and fill the gap. You want to remove, fill gap, and move all clips, especially if you are as short-sighted as I am, where you have this horrible habit of going into a video, clipping things, spending 2 or 3 hours into it, needing to go take a break, take a piss, have a drink, get something to eat. So you save the file, you come back, and then you forget where you were, right? You forget that you were clipping, so you just start adding music. So you always want to make sure that you remove, fill gap, and move all clips. Just in case we happen to have, for instance, an FX track here. You want to make sure that that special effects track, whatever it may be, and I don't know, what are we going to look at? I don't want to go too crazy. I also don't want to leave it boring. But all you would really do is take the FX track, drag and drop it here, and then you'll see that it's so all I did was zoom out the portion that I put the FX track on. And if I don't extend said track, if I don't make it longer or add another one, which is just simple, make sure you grab it by the edge. It's a finite amount of time, but you can change that. It doesn't change the way it's gonna look. We're gonna get rid of that because I don't want to zoom out my new logo. But what we were originally gonna get to, and that was just to point out the fact that if you're going to delete a clip, you want to make sure that you move all files that are attached to it. So that way, whatever you put in there, if you wanted that, if you have, I don't know, like, sub, and share button in there somewhere or what have you, you want to make sure that that stays exactly where you had it. If you have captions in there somewhere, you want to make sure that they move with it. Otherwise, you're going to have a, oh fuck, with a thought bubble that was originally over your head when you walked into a room, and then when you went and readjusted because you wanted to shave a couple of seconds off the clip, because, for instance, I don't know, you knew that making a 20-minute video was just a little bit too much for the attention span or the audience retention that you have, so you wanted to bring it down to 15 minutes, so you go everywhere and you clip, 5 seconds, right? It's not much. It doesn't actually take away much from the video unless it was, for instance, that weird ding-a-ding-a-ding-a-ding-a-ding-a thingy. You kind of need that. I mean, you don't need that, but I feel like my video needs to have that. But you want to make sure that you make, when you delete it, you remove it, you fill the gap, and you move all clips. Everything will go with it, and it'll stay where it needs to be. You won't have to go back in and retime all of that shit. We'll get into captions later because those are a lot of fun. But for now, let's get into transitions. So, not titles, although, you know what? Let's talk titles. So usually, and I have some custom ones made, you get to more or less do whatever you want with it, right? I've got some credit scenes. This is my typical, especially for 7 Days to Die. I have this set up, but what you usually start with are these just very plainish title screens, right? There's not much going on. I don't want to go too much into detail about pick one and then we'll go in and edit it. We are kind of also editing my video as we go. So we're going to take one that I already have made, and all I got to do is modify template, which is what you would do when you pick a brand new template. You would just find it, right click it, modify, and then you have options. If you're using this, this is almost all exclusively for this editing program. So you want to use Power Director, you want to use Cyberlinks. So go to cyberlinks.com, you'll find Power Director, you go and get the Director Suite 360, and you get all this really good shit, $100. And they're constantly updating. You're getting new background music, you're getting new transitions, you're getting new overlays and stickers and shit like that you can use. So what do we want to call it? It's essentially going to be the same title as the video. So I already know that a wolf happens and it scares the shit out of us. There's going to be a very important part to this too. But so what do we go for? You want to look for a catchy fucking name, right? So I don't do big thumbnails. I'm not that good yet. But the name should be able to catch them. And then you can do a basic thumbnail. I mean, I already kind of have one. It's going to be it's the profile picture for most of my stuff. So that's what I'm going to have on there because that's going to pop out. It's a lot of pretty colors, and it's a ninja pineapple. I mean, I don't know about you, but that intrigues me. It's kind of why I had somebody design it for me. But we need something that kind of makes sense with the video. You kind of want it to be a clickbait title, but you don't want to lie. Because I will fucking thumbs down that video. So a wolf attacks us. I'm going to say, too much fur. Right? And maybe we should do it in all caps. And we'll go with all these crazy dealies here. So we'll go ahead and test it out. Make sure it's got what I needed on there. Now these overlays, these are other things that you can do. That is not exactly yo, what's going on, Rose? You want to make sure that it's not. I want to make sure that we don't go too in depth in things that are slightly more advanced. Right now, we're just looking for the basics. So you got yourself a title screen. These things, all of this other stuff, with the exception of like that smoke going by and all of that. The rest of this is just kind of how it came. The little fucking bar comes across, your title pops up, you can do a right click and put in text if you need to. All of that is very fucking simple. And up here you'll see insert background. It's usually from a picture you already have on your computer. So Google Images are your best friend at that point. That's where I got this one. And then we tweaked the colors on it a little bit. We made it just a little bit better than it was or different. You want it to, you don't want to copy and paste everybody's shit if you don't have to. But we got the one that we want. So we are going to take that and then we will insert and move all clips, just like when you're deleting. So if you're inserting in the middle of two clips, you want to make sure that you then move anything that might be attached to the clips behind it all together. Otherwise, you're going right back through the shit you just did. Nobody wants to put up with that. It is such a pain in the ass. I'm just saying. But here's now where we are going to start inserting some music. So we have our intro, which already has some music attached to it. We have our gameplay footage, which obviously has our vocals attached to it. We are going to add music to that later. It'll be a second layer. But your basic over title screens that you get here have absolutely no music to them. So what do we do? Well, you could go about the route of downloading music and putting it in your system and then potentially getting caught with copyright for infringement, right? And then they take your video down or they force you to clip that particular portion out. You wind up going back and re-editing your video. It's just not worth it. The great thing about this program is it actually comes with a couple hundred tracks that you can already fuck with. So you have to download each one that you want. But once they're downloaded, and we're just not going to scroll through all of it, they're just there. So with that, with this, with the zombie and the 7 Days to Die and the guy in the background out in the woods, we got the smoke going, right? I actually have a particular sound that I like. So we won't go through the whole thing, but I mean, that is fairly ominous in and of itself. So you can see that the audio clip is actually much bigger than the section of world that we needed in. Doesn't matter. You drop it, and then you look. You make sure you look down here and look at all of your thingies, and what you want to see is trimmed to fit. It automatically clips it for you. The other magical thing is when you go to put it there, that magical red line that we have over there in the corner, right after the intro and right before the title screen, is going to stop you from crossing over into the audio of the previous clip. So we end up with what is going to be this. Not bad so far, but now we have a proper intro. We have a nice title screen. It's not static, which is definitely something that you want to make sure you don't have. Static is going to kill you. That, for starters, was a little bit longer than I'd like. So I am actually thinking about trimming my intro video, I don't know, a couple of seconds, if that. We go back here and we can look at to where I would want to get rid of it. So as it starts to, it's a bit long. We are going to test it. That's the other thing is, I might feel it's a bit long because I want to make sure I keep people's, my audience retention needs to go up. You constantly want to have people that are intrigued and they want to stay part of the video. They want to watch it. They want to join the community. So there's a lot of movement. There's no staticness. The music is kind of up and jumpy. So it's exciting. We wind up then sliding into this very ominous piano playing, roughly music static picture. But we do have that smoke that's going on in the background. And from the title, we'll move into that. Which I am tickled to death. I didn't realize I did that. It actually almost works in a way where it sounds like I'm finishing the title music in a ridiculous way. None of this shit is planned, but you got to make sure that you're constantly recording just in case. Or make sure you're recording 10 minutes before you actually plan on doing something exciting. But now that we have this all going, you want to go through and make sure that you have all of the stuff that you want. You also want to make sure, especially in a game like 7 Days to Die, when you're making a video for it, any survival crafting game, Minecraft is essentially the same thing. Nobody really wants to watch you traveling from point A to point B. They don't. You can clip that, and maybe we'll do something like that in a future video, or you can go back and watch some of my old 7 Days to Die videos on Alpha 19. There's a playlist. And you can go and see that I do take traveling. We'll get in the truck and we'll go from one side of the map to the other. I throw some nice music behind it. We clip it up where you're every couple of seconds we're in a whole new section of the map. We're in a whole new biome, or we jump out and we fight something real quick. Then we're back in the car all of a sudden, back on our adventure. No one wants to see you travel unless you can make it a little more exciting for them. So just keep that in mind when you're editing. But there was a point here, and this is something that we're going to wind up doing, right? It might actually be something that we take all the way back to the front of the video as kind of a preview of what to come. And that might get people to, all right, I'm looking at what? This video is roughly 7.5 minutes. It's not a long video. Dead Thumb, welcome, brother. I am so glad you are here. I miss seeing your content, man. I'm gonna need you to put up some more. Hey, by the way, I'm starting to get a whole new rig set up. Proper throwback games coming in the next couple of months. I'm looking at a capture card once I get my game room rebuilt because we moved since last time me and you spoke. It's gonna be things. Talking 64, maybe some Atari, some Sega. It's gonna be some shit. But so, what we're going to look for is that exact point that shit went weird, which was around here. And I don't want...
I saw him running as I'm checking the damn.
All right, so right around here is the clip that I want. What we're going to wind up doing is once I get exactly that little segment that I want, we're going to put filters. There's going to be a transition. We'll go back to those once we get done with this particular portion of it. And then we are going to copy this clip. I want to leave it where it is, but I also want to take a copy of it up to the front so you are looking for this exact moment. Oh, I peed a little. Oh. Oh. All right, so we'll split it here. Oh, I peed a little.
Yo, I almost shit myself.
And we'll clip this one here. And now I want to copy. And we'll just paste it back here. Just so that way I have it out of there. I don't want to fuck up and put it into place and then it overwrite something. So we're going to keep this. And I want to take this all the way up to the front. And this is going to be that little preview of what's coming. So again, we're inserting at the beginning. You want to make sure that you insert and move all clips. Everything will slide behind it. It will still be very flush. And then what we're going to have at the beginning of the video is this.
Yo, I almost shit myself.
Now here's where we're going to talk transitions. This will actually potentially make that intro that I want to be slightly shorter. So we got to look for our transition room. It's right there. Now, through the slew of almost 200 different transitions, which is great, but through all of these transitions, you want to find the one that actually makes sense. So let's say, you think that would be nice? The colors make sense with the post-apocalyptic feel of the game, right? But they don't make any sense with the spacey overtone of our intro. So maybe this one. Just a quick feel into it, and we will, once I can get this transition to cooperate with me, put it in right there, and we'll see if the transition is where I want it to be. Oh, I peed a little.
Yo, I almost shit myself.
And that's simply how you use transitions. Please, for the love of God, keep in mind that as a beginning editor, because you have so many options here to use these, and there are so many different ones, and when you start editing, you're going to want to make a long video. It kind of just happens for two reasons. One, when you start editing a video, you usually have about 30 to 45 minutes of footage that you want to go through. And to you, all of that is going to be gold in your head, or it's all trash. Here's the issue with both. You are going to start using transitions in places that they don't make sense, or you might put it in a place that accidentally clips out some of your footage. So one thing that you want to make sure of is that over here in your media library, you still have the full clips of whatever it is you're using. Don't put it down there and then forget that it's there and think, well, I just remember it's there. If you fucked up somewhere and you lost it, start over. It's not an easy process. It is not going to happen in 20 minutes. I promise you this. If you can do a 30-minute video, 30 minutes of raw footage, and make it into a viable video for YouTube in an hour, you're doing it wrong. I promise you. You didn't put any real thought into it, and I can guarantee you the end result is going to piss you off, and it's not going to get you any more people to watch it. It's just not. Also, keep in mind that we're on the concept of recording your game footage. Try to avoid taking your raw clip from Twitch and then just putting it on YouTube. This video that we did here is not on Twitch. It's on no other platform. You can see me play 7 Days to Die on Twitch. You're not going to see me play this particular moment on Twitch. It's not going to be there. It's going to be on the YouTube channel. So you want your Twitch followers to want to go and see you on YouTube, and you want your YouTube followers to want to come and see you live on Twitch. So you need the content to be different. My YouTube channel is riddled with hundreds and hundreds of videos of random games. There are so many fucking games on there. I can't explain it. There is not one specific kind of game I play, but there is a time where I get stuck in a particular genre for a little while. For instance, 7 Days to Die has kind of been happening for the last couple of months, and then we started adding StarCraft 2 and recently Among Us. Don't limit yourself to one game. You might feel excited about it, but if you are trying to reach a broader audience, you're trying to get more followers, have the right personality, for starter. That is a very big deal. Make sure you have the right personality, and then don't just play Call of Duty. Don't just play Fortnite. Don't just play StarCraft. Don't just play 7 Days to Die. Minecraft. Unless you are really crazy creative, especially in games like that, or you are so good that you win every game of fucking Warzone or every game of Fortnite, and even then, there's only so many of those people can watch. You should show people that you enjoy playing other stuff. So try and get yourself into it. But that is the big point of doing all of this editing, is you want to make sure that the footage you're using can only be found in one place. And if people really enjoy watching your game, they enjoy your personality or the way that you do any of this shit, try and keep your YouTube footage and your Twitch footage, and if you're putting some clips like Instagram and Twitter, yeah, take your clips, but you need to tweak them. And I'm not that good at that kind of stuff yet. You got to go find somebody else on YouTube that can do it. Alpha Gaming, those guys are actually pretty good at explaining how you make a nice little Twitch clip or a Twitter clip from your Twitch. I would definitely go and see them for that. So we've got the very basics going on already. We have a nice little intro. We have a little footage clip of what they can expect. What you would then do is go through all of this and make sure that everything in here is good. It needs to be exciting. It's got to be captivating in one way or the other. If it's boring and you are traveling from one room to another, no one's going to want to see it.
And that's the game.
So, for instance, we got this. We're going to keep that. Beat the fuck out of this guy. It's a little bit silly. Right now is where I would clip this. And from this point going forward until, I don't know, the next potential target hits me, that's where we would then stop the clip. But that's the point, is you are going to be sitting here
There's the good stuff.
waiting.
I'm randomly skipping
So,
seconds.
all right. Now we know that things are about to happen, right? So we go back and we will find that clip where we hit this guy.
Oh, jeez. Home run. Holy God.
And that's the game.
We'll pause it there. This is where we're going to split this portion. And we will attempt to find where we were when things started going wrong again. So here we are is where we're about to jump down. So we're going to clip this portion here. Now this isn't a lot of time, but it's dead time. Nothing is going on. We're not really talking anymore. We're not going anywhere. We're just walking up some stairs looking for more loot. So obviously, I don't want to see it, and I can't imagine that my viewers want to see me, even if it's half a second. You don't want to see it, so we get rid of it. And now that we have that clip,
And that's the game.
I'm randomly skipping seconds.
this is where shit goes wrong. Things have now gone from a little bit silly to super exciting and a little bit tense. It was a second or two that we clipped out. But that second, in someone's mind, if it takes 2 seconds for you to get to the next exciting part, that's where you're going to lose them at that 1 second mark. Oh, he's walking up the stairs. Because you didn't make sure that you went through all of this. If I went through all of this and made sure, and that's what I'm going to wind up doing after I do this stream, I go through and I make sure that no dead space is here. It is just silly banter back and forth, or it's us finding or not even finding good stuff, but just being excited about it when we find it, or finding some zombies and fighting them, or whatever it may be. As long as there's no time in there where it's just us walking somewhere in silence, you will be good. So then you are fine with keeping that little couple of seconds going in, because you don't have all that dead space before. But the point is to make sure that you go through and you find as much of that dead time as possible and you get rid of it. You don't want it. Your viewers don't want to watch it. You just need to make sure that you are dedicated enough to get rid of it. So you're going to have to sit here. This is a 5-minute clip. And with the exception of me spending probably roughly 7 or 8 minutes really just sitting here talking directly to you as opposed to really doing these clips, we have spent 30 minutes actually editing a 7-minute clip. And all we've shaved down is like 20 seconds. Really nothing. We haven't gotten to a point where I'm ready to produce it. It's still going to take me probably another hour or two before I'm really happy with it. There might be another transition or two that we might wind up doing. And, excuse me. There are going to be places where I want to, let's see what goes on here.
Oh. I think I gotta go.
So there's not much going on
Come
here.
on.
Now, what we can do, and let's see, because there's another trick to getting rid of dead space without actually clipping and getting rid of it. And you can make it a little more exciting. So, for instance, let's go ahead and find out where the fighting stops here.
Go sleep. Go sleep. Shit. I don't know what's happening. My hitbox is all weird. I'm good.
Oh shit! There's a what the fuck?
All right, so let's just keep that, right? We'll keep up to that point because Vaughn's what the fuck to me is actually always a little bit captivating. So I enjoy it. But we'll keep this stuff here.
Hey, look at all this.
I found the secret ass.
And let's go until we have found everything, right?
Leather.
So we'll go to about that point and we'll clip this. Now, this is all dead space to a point. It's not really exciting in any way. You're finding loot, yeah, but there's nothing crazy going on. Unless, say, we were at the beginning of the game and I found like a level 6 AK-47 or a level 6 fucking chainsaw or something of that, of that fucking caliber. But we haven't, right? So what we have is a couple of seconds of dead space that I don't want to get rid of because I want to keep this clip and this clip still uniform, where I go from fighting the zombies after getting on the roof to finding the loot, and then we move on to
Of all things,
I find a mine
That's a mine.
and I almost die. I want to keep all of that where it looks like I've just gone from. There's no transition. There's no cut. It is literally technically raw footage. So what we're going to do with this particular little clip here is we'll go back into tools, and I want to look at video speed. So what we're going to do is we're going to speed it up. We're going to make it faster. You got the 1-for-1 ratio, which is just exactly what it is. And as you go up, so we'll do, let's say we want it to be 2.5 times faster. So we'll go 2 point, if I just get rid of this shit, thank you, 2.5. So it'll be 2.5 times faster. Why is it not? I have never actually had to do that before. I think it's because it's all plugged into my new rig that it wanted me to, I had to hit number lock. It's actually usually already set to number lock. But anyway, so we moved it faster. And there's one thing you're noticing right off top, I'm assuming, right? There's no sound. Once you go past 2.0, at least with this program, it removes the audio out of the clip, and you end up with just you going through stuff. So what do you do in that? You could do a little voiceover and talk about the stuff you're getting, but if you're playing a game like this where there's already the in-game voices of you and your teammates doing things, you don't want to then add in, unless you can do a really good Morgan Freeman, your own voice over the voiceover that's already going on. So we'll go back to our background music. And we'll find something short, kind of exciting. Let's see what we got here. Maybe. Maybe. But you got to keep in mind, so that took a couple of seconds for it to really drop. This clip is how long? Duration is 8 seconds, it's saying. So let's see if we can find something that pops a little faster. I don't like that one. This might be nice. So we'll take this clip, we'll drag it down here. It is automatically going to stop at the beginning of the clip we need. You can actually click on the clip that it's going to stop at, hit split, and now we've split the clip. You notice how it didn't say remove and fill because there's nothing behind this second layer. So you're really just clipping that out. So now we'll move back to here. Let's go to here, and now you don't have to rewatch the entire clip. You're already happy with that clip before it. You just want to get to a point where you can feel like you're now part of that experience again, where you're as if you're watching it for the first time yourself, and you're going to move into that new sped up clip with the new music, and then you're going to move back into normal time, what's going on in the game.
My hitbox is all weird. I'm good.
Oh shit, there's a what the fuck? Leather of all things.
Very simple. So now you haven't taken out the dead space, you've just made it shorter. You've made it a little more exciting because you threw some music in the background of it. It stopped once your next clip stopped, and that's all just because you've already split the clip that you wanted to speed up, so you know the exact start point and the exact end point. So there's nothing to worry about. This program is very user-friendly. But, oh no, shit, I forgot. There was a part over here in the beginning of the video that I didn't like. Well, let's go find it.
Oh yeah?
That doesn't look like it. Oh, this might be it. Where does that start?
Wait, she's out here?
Alright, so right here is where we want to clip this part. That's where the zombies have ended, and it's more or less just me and him trying to get on to the roof, or to the next part where all the loot is. So there's really nothing going on in this portion. So we will find out where we need to stop the next clip to get rid of this entire middle section.
Up?
Wiggle. And then, oh.
And more or less,
You go that way, I go this way?
here we go.
Yeah, I saw that. I got
You go that way, I go this way?
So that's what I want.
That's how bad I got
You go that.
Let's go back a little bit.
That's how bad.
We're going to clip this portion here. And all of this is dead space. And that is too much dead space that I'm comfortable with to try and speed up in any way. We could clip it, but we're not actually searching for anything. We're just trying to get on top of a thing. For me, it's a lot of boring time. So we're going to remove. Make sure that you remove, fill, and you want all clips to move with it. And bam. There's that second track that we added to the music here. Or the music that we added here to the sped up track, and it moved with it. So you can see it in real time that as long as you make sure you do that, you're not going to have to go back and then take that little clip of music and make sure that you find, out of all of these small clips that you've now made, the right clip that it goes to. It's going to stay exactly where it needs to be. If you start where it needs to start, you're perfectly fine. So at this point, I'm fairly happy with the beginning of this video. I am going to go through it and trim a little bit more. But we've got all of this. So we're now moving to the point where you want to get your outro going, right? I've got my outro video that says thanks for watching, but the game kind of ends abruptly on it, which is oh yeah. Always remember that you need to clip out the point where you actually stop recording. So let's find out where things get a little less exciting. Lois is dead there. And I believe that is actually the last zombie that we kill in this clip. So I want to make sure that I listen. Is there anything else silly that happens in our speaking back and forth with each other?
All right, I'm low on space. I gotta start throwing shit out that ain't.
There's really nothing happening. So what we'll do is end this video here. Now she's dead. But we'll put it up a little bit. We'll split the clip. This part we don't need. We're going to remove and make sure that it all moves with it. I actually see something here that I want to tweak a little bit. So we're going to, right here, we're going to split this clip. I want to make sure I highlight that tiny little clip in the middle. We're going to go back to video speed. And I actually want to slow it down. So we'll get rid of that and we'll put it at 0.5. We'll put it at half speed. And that's how the video is going to end, right? My outro, like we were talking about. I don't want the outro to just be the outro. I actually have another one of those title screens that we were talking about that is set for any game that or any 7 days video that I'm doing. It's just thanks for watching the video. Here's other things that if you want to see, or it's I appreciate you stopping in, and you can see it there. So we're gonna drag that and make sure that we put it right after that little clip we did. Insert and move all clips. I also like to use the same outro music that I use with the title screen, that creepy kind of piano feel. So we'll make sure we grab the right one. Same basic idea as we did before. We're going to insert. We're going to trim to fit. And now that this has the nice little shot that I want, we got the transition, or no transition. I was thinking about it, but it's actually a very short clip. If I put a transition in there, it might fuck it up. So this actually moves too fast for me. We are just going to extend it. So we can do that simply by grabbing our outro. We'll move it out of the way. I need to grab the ass end of this. And we've already made one mistake, and it's not doing what I wanted to do. All right, my computer's starting to freak out a little bit. So we've made it a little bit longer, so now my text is not moving as fast. And this way, people are actually able to read it. But we made a mistake. This audio clip is now not long enough. Simple fix. You remove, and this one you can remove and leave the gap. You don't want the audio from this to somehow get pulled up. But all we do is, again, go grab our audio, plop it in here, trim to fit, and I still got to do some polishing, but you've more or less now made your first YouTube video. And it's fairly exciting, and things are going on. And you could potentially get yourself some good views. So we're going to move on, but I'm not going to click the button. I'm going to try not to. We're going to move on to the possibly the most important part. When you go to create your video, you want to make sure that you render it in the right format. So over here is your little drop menu, and you can see I like to do mine at 30p a second, you feel me? And I want to keep it at 1080i. So 30 frames a second is decent. Most people are watching it on their phones anyway. So you're not going to lose any frames. It's going to be nice. It's going to be smooth. At 1080p, most people are getting watching on their phones. 720 is kind of your go-to. It'll stay smooth, and there's no visual difference between 720 and 1080i or even 1440, to be 100%. So I like to do it here, but you can make your own decision. It really depends on your hardware and your software and what it can handle. You want to do it as a Windows media file that can be played on, you can be uploaded to YouTube with no problem, and pretty much anywhere else. You put it on Twitch, Instagram, it will definitely work. The AVIs don't always work. There are sometimes coding issues when you try to do it. Just trust me, that's what you want to do. And then, export folder. You need to know where it's going. I created a folder where all of my YouTube videos go automatically, so I just went into this section. It showed, I can go through my desktop or whatever, find that folder, click it, and now it is the default. It automatically goes to where I need it to go. It's a beautiful thing. And that's really it. I mean, you'll hit the start button. It'll start producing depending on how long the video is. This one's about, 5.5 minutes? If I wanted to produce it now, it would take me maybe 5 minutes. It would be very quick. But I'm just going to leave this open. I don't actually want to close it. We're going to go back, and now that we have all of these things running, we've been doing all this editing. This is something we talked about at the beginning of the video, is making sure that your CPU usage and your GPU usage are still fairly nominal. 23% for my CPU is absolutely perfect. When I am uploading and streaming like I am now, I am not losing any frames. This stays absolutely smooth for you guys. You can see everything I'm doing. My GPU usage, on the other hand, is at 57%. I am not losing any frames myself, but the GPU is what I'm seeing. The CPU is more or less what everybody else is seeing. How is my computer able to upload everything that I am putting into the stream site easily? And since I'm doing this simul stream, it's both on YouTube and on Twitch, I don't need this CPU to go above 50%, quite frankly. It's not going to hurt it, but the fact that it's staying under 22% is beautiful. And we have dual screens going right now. I have the Streamlabs up. I got the preview open so I can see and make sure that it is staying smooth for you guys. I can also see my frame rate. So this is the basics for video editing. And that took damn near an hour. Wow. All right, so what most people are probably here for, if you're watching the video after the fact, or for those of you that are here right now, and it's specifically because you are using OBS Studios and you don't fully understand, or maybe you don't know that you don't understand, very basic things about it. The first thing we're going to talk about, and this is where that thing I was telling you it's going to be important during, it's this. This is absolutely mission critical. We talked about why. Losing frames when you're streaming makes people leave. You know that as well as anybody else. We've all been watching streamers before we ever started streaming. When you start losing frames, people want to leave. It's frustrating because I can't see what the hell's really going on. And you might get really excited and I didn't see the killer shot, or I didn't catch that zombie that was coming, or you fell in the lava all of a sudden in Minecraft because you were digging straight down like a moron and I didn't catch that awesome experience because you're losing frames. Here is a very simple fix for that. You go to your OBS Studios on your laptop or your PC, you right click it, and you run as administrator. That puts it at a point where all of the strain coming out of you streaming is going to your CPU, not your GPU. It puts it on your GPU, not your CPU, rather. So you're able to stream. It's putting less computing power, less strain on your computer, and it is putting more strain on your graphics. Your graphics aren't as important. You're not streaming for you to enjoy what you can see. You're streaming so people enjoy what they see. So if you can put as much load on here without going over 70, 80%, you're not really going to lose any frame rate anyway. And we're doing all of this stuff that's going on now. I mean, I still have two things open, so it's going to fluctuate. You see that. I went from 50% now to 37. We're still optimal. I got things overclocked to make sure that that happens. Just don't leave your computer like that all the time. It's unnecessary, quite frankly, and you could burn out the fan motors. But that's a hardware issue. We won't get into that. So you're running your shit as administrator. That now takes the load off of your CPU. Things are much better. If you're still having a few issues, one thing that I have had people tell me, and we got to go into... Oh, so it's not something that we can actually do while we're streaming on the platform. But you go into your output settings. You want to go to advanced. You'll go down here to encoder. You'll hit that drop-down menu, and every computer I've seen has this. At the bottom of that drop-down menu, you'll see hardware, NVENC, new. Click that. Apparently, it's the most up-to-date encoder for a streaming your computer already has it in its processing power. You click that, it defaults to the bare minimum that it needs, which again puts more strain on your CPU, and then kind of fucks with it just... Trust me on this, I've seen enough people talk about it, and when I started doing it, comparing my streams to other streams that I've seen, I do not have that ill-pixelated problem like a lot of streamers are having right now, especially those of us that are really just getting started with using OBS Studios. So that's what you want to do, is make sure you put it here. Another thing that you're going to want to look into is... would you need to do a computer test, an internet speed test, and see what kind of speed your computer is getting. I'm only getting about 11 megs a second into my computer, so realistically, when I output, I should cut it in half. But this is a heavy gaming household, so I can actually comfortably set it at 2,500 bits a second. So send that out at 2,500 bits a second, I can still put that at 1080p, and then having my delay at 20 seconds, where what I'm doing right now is 20 seconds behind you, makes it so that way it can encode it from those 25 bits a second to a 1080i that I want, and you guys will enjoy actually watching. So those are very simple things that a lot of people aren't doing or don't know to do. I didn't. And it's definitely something that you should be doing. It will make your stream so much smoother. Here is another issue, and I love you motherfuckers. So take this with the utmost respect. This fucking slide bar and this fucking slide bar are mission critical in your streams. Turn this down. Turn this down too. You see, I'm just now noticing I'm actually spiking in the red. You don't want that. It gets a little bit choppy. I'm not even sure if it gets choppy. You guys let me know. I've gone back and watched my streams, and this is a different overlay that I'm using, so I had to go back. I should have gone back and reset all of this. I didn't. But it's whatever. It's fine. But this, your desktop, needs to be turned down. If you have it flush, I will show you what's going to happen. Let's just pull up Spotify for the hell of it. And then keep in mind that I am also on YouTube, so I will make sure I am using royalty-free music. We'll turn this up a little bit. Now, I don't know if you can, I don't know if it's happening. By all means, the two of you that are here, please let me know. Is it hard to hear me? The desktop audio is the same as my mic audio, and the big difference is my voice is separated slightly. The desktop audio is a direct output to you, so that slight separation and you having your desktop audio and your microphone audio the same or even close to each other is absolutely unnecessary. The music needs to be, and even the gameplay is kind of secondary when you when you're trying to sell yourself, essentially sell your brand. So you need background just so that way people, like when you do get lost in the game, when you get lost in a match, you need that background to break the silence. They're typing away, sure, maybe you can't see the stream, or, the chat's over here on the side, or it's on your phone or whatever, and you're going at it. You need to make sure that there's something that's going on in the background, even subtly, that when they're sitting there listening to the pow pow, it's not overpowering, because then when you start talking, they can't really hear you, especially with Call of Duty and Fortnite. As soon as those guns start blasting, I can't hear a goddamn thing anybody's saying. So you want to make sure that these are set in a way where your mic is overpowering your gameplay. You need to be center stage for what's going on. You're the streamer. The game is out there. Everybody has the fucking game. 90% of the time they're watching it because they don't know how to play well, or they're not allowed to get online right now, or whatever. They're kids, what have you. But they're sitting there watching it because you're playing the game. So you need to be front and center. For instance, part of that is my new camera rig. This thing is crystal clear. In comparison to the one I've been using, I'm happy as shit with this. And this is what I will be using going forward. But now I have 2 different cameras. So if I want to stream from 2 different platforms, for instance, if I wanted to stream and record off of OBS here and do it off of my screen recorder from my Cyberlinks device, I can do all of that simultaneously and get different angles. We're also going to be using this for like review videos we're going to be doing in the future, because this thing has a tripod and such, and I have now a 3rd camera and storage. That's all future stuff, besides the point. But this is a very important thing. You want to make sure that people can hear you. So we'll move on to the next thing. So a lot of the stuff I'm going to show you going forward, you kind of need to have Prime to do it. You get a basic overlay when you get the free OBS, but I went for the $20 for a month, or at least $20 this month. I'm trying to see if all of these overlays that I downloaded, are they permanently on my system, or when I lose my Prime, do they, kind of like PlayStation Network, if I didn't pay for my internet, I can't play the game anymore type shit. So we're going to keep on the one that we're on, but let's say we'll go back to the starting soon screen, right? So this is where we are. If you want to add the alert box that we have, and this is just, I'm only going to be here for a second so we can see. So you want this stuff popping up on your thing, right? The alert box, more or less, and this is for the people that I've seen that don't have it yet. My buddy Vaughn just got OBS, so he's trying to figure out. So if you're in here, if you come in, I guess I'll have to hit you up and say, make sure you go an hour into the video for the part you were looking for. This little plus sign here is what you need. And the alert box is what you're looking for that particular thing. I'm not going to click it now, but let's just say, let's go to images. I want to put an image in. I already have one set up. It's my new logo. So we're going to grab that. You right click it. This is just so that way it's easier for me to fiddle with it. And then you scale it down to where you want. And then you just find a good place to put it. We'll leave it up here in the corner. Now, one thing that this can't do unless you push a particular button, you can't just grab this corner here and pull it. It's a lot easier if you hold shift, grab the corner, and then you have this very easily manipulated deal. And you can make it exactly the size that you want. The same thing will happen, and we'll just grab the camera and tweak that a little bit. Same deal there. So I got this where I want it to be, but I don't need it showing right now. So there's that eyeball. I think it's fairly self-explanatory. You cut that off. One thing that I got to turn this down a little bit. I'm actually drowning myself out because I got the music up so high in my ear, and I got to turn down so low on you guys. So one thing that I did on one of my previous videos, or one of my other overlays, is my intermission screen is playing a clip from one of my other games in the, in this little box, so that way people, so that way people can, while I'm talking, if we're doing the just tatting part, in between games, or if we're getting ready to play something, what have you, you know, you want to have that ability. So you're looking for browser source. You click on that. Now you can go do, now if you do it, it takes a little coding to put a website. I actually tried doing that, thinking that putting my YouTube channel in the corner somewhere would mean you could click it and it would take it to my YouTube channel. Apparently that's not the case. So we're gonna go ahead and add source. We're just gonna put this as I don't know. We'll call it Who Done It. When I play Among Us, that's what I like to call it. So we'll just call this one Who Done It. We'll go to local files, we'll browse, and then you go to wherever it is you keep your footage for your games. You click one. So let's see, depending on how long you expect your intermission to be, 19 minutes. We'll click on a 19-minute one, because what if we're sitting here talking and I forget that we're trying to get back into a game, or whatever the issue is. So you also want to make sure when you put that in, you want to control audio via OBS. What you don't want is while I'm talking to you, you hear that? That is me actually getting ready to speak in that. So you can come in here and mute it. If you feel better about bringing that slide bar all the way down just in case. But now you can't actually hear what's going on in this. But what you now have is a nice little backdrop of you doing something. And it could be anything. Now that we have a new camera, we might actually have a backdrop of us doing... I'm going to be doing a kind of an unboxing of sorts. I ordered this. I'm a survivalist, also doomsday prepper kind of guy. So I'm actually going to be doing a video where I unbox all of this really cool shit from I got this $59 fucking mystery bag that's worth like $120. We'll talk about the website if you're into that thing. Just hit me up and dip my Discord or something. Links are down there below. So I'm actually thinking about doing that, and then that's something that we'll have playing on the side. So you could, same deal. And this to me is much easier than going the route of typing in because you got to type in, you got to go to your YouTube channel, and you got to have it up and see every single digit and type that shit in. Case sensitive. Otherwise, it's going to be corrupt and it's not going to be there. So we'll get rid of this. We actually don't need that on there. I don't see this. I'm still tweaking this overlay that we're using today. It's going to be a little while before it's actually ready for gaming. And I don't even know if I'm going to be using it for gaming. This might be our just chatting overlay. You know, when we're just hanging out and talking bullshit, this might be the overlay we use. It's very simple, very minimalist. Doesn't take up a lot of processing power. But you know what? What else do I hear a lot of people ask? What do they want? You want the follower goal, right? Actually, that one isn't exactly tricky. Oh no. Yeah, you know what? Let's stick with that. We'll stick with the follower goal. So let's see if we can find it, because I am not exactly sure. There we go. Follower goal. So it counts your followers as you go. We'll just leave it named as is. So here's the one we have already. And it's 5 days to go. So if you haven't already followed, or you got some friends that want to follow, bring their asses over, because we're actually at 76 followers. This thing's a little bit delayed. Something going on with Twitch and OBS lately. I think we all know that. It doesn't tell us exactly who's in chat or how many viewers we actually have. That's, you know, whatever. But, so this is what you'll do. I would actually have to end the goal. And, you know what? Let's do that. Let's start fresh. Let's end goal. And we'll start something completely different. So we got the right colors that we want. And the bar thickness is where I already want it to be. You're looking, these colors are just, and once you start typing in, so it's 100 and we're starting at, I think we're at 76. So let's go ahead and put that at 76. The goal amount is 100. Let's call it Let's Grow Ninjas. I want to make sure I put that up there like that. All right, so Let's Grow Ninjas. And I'm fairly happy with these dealies here. So we'll don't need to control audio with that. But now that we're done with it, there we go. So it's where we need it to be. And this is, again, just another quick resizing. I don't like how big it is. So we can actually tweak it down. And I like to keep it, you know, let's keep it right here over the camera, right? That way, when you're looking at me, it also reminds you, if you haven't already followed, follow. Very simple. You know, I don't know. I don't like to go overboard with any of this stuff. I mean, especially when I'm trying to teach somebody on how to do something. Keep it simple, right? You just want to make sure your stuff looks a little more professional. So another thing that I have, because I don't have a stream deck, is, let's see if you can see that, the remote control on my phone. If you don't know how to do that yet, we'll go into a quick, right over here, remote control. You open up your camera, you click that, it'll show you your barcode dealy. You show the camera, and as long as you have OBS Studios, it automatically, because you have to be obviously in the OBS remote control thing on your phone, you just go to the camera set and it brings it right up, and now all your stuff is right there at your fingertips. And we hit starting soon, and now we got the starting soon. We hit the be right back. We'll be right back. We're at live screen. Everything is just right there. It's so much easier to fucking control, especially if you're on a one screen setup. This thing is a godsend. I mean, you can even see your chat from it. If I wanted to see either one, I could hit Twitch and YouTube and I can see the chat for it. Thankfully, because I can see the second screen, I can actually see the multi-stream and I can see my YouTube people and my Twitch people, which is absolutely amazing. I like that. I didn't think about that. That's actually something I'm just learning today. So I hope this was informative for you guys, because we're actually going to go ahead and wrap this up. There's not much on here that you really need to know. I mean, showing you this and the really basic things of the browser source, the image, the alert box, the follower goal. The rest of this stuff is fairly self-explanatory. It even tells you what it does. So it's just about fiddling with it on your own. I just wanted, the big thing was making sure that people understood this. This is very important to me. And, you know, going through your output settings. So like we had talked about, and we'll go ahead and just recap it real quick. You'll go into your encoder and output and advanced settings. You want to hit that drop bar, and at the bottom of C, hardware, NVENC new. That's the one, the encoder you want to be using. Your frame rate is strictly up to you, but do a computer speed test on Google. Just go to internet speed, or just type in speed test at Google, and it'll give you the thing. You click it, it tells you. So whatever that 11, 20 MP, you know, megabytes per second, whatever you're getting in, cut it in half generally. And then also keep in mind, if you have 3 other people, for instance, or 4 other people in your house that are typically on, say, streaming sites where they're streaming themselves or they're on Netflix or something like that, take that into account, because that is what the whole house is actually getting. So if that's, and it's not, it's actually it's a decent upload speed. I mean, they're upstairs watching Amazon right now while 7 people are on their fucking cell phones, or I over exaggerate, it's 4 people on their cell phones, and I'm here streaming to you guys on YouTube and Twitch, and I have my phone going, you know, so there's a lot going on at once. So keep that in mind, that for me, the 2500 is the bare minimum you should be able to put out. If you have to go less than that to keep your frame rate proper when you're streaming, there's something wrong. You might want to call your internet provider. And I know a lot of y'all have been having that issue over in our Discords, that your internet's been shit. So I would recommend switching. If 2500 bits per second is too much, there's an issue with your internet. But generally, you want to cut that in half or even quarter it if you need to, which is what I did, because there's so many people here. And, you know, some people are actually working during the day when I'm trying to stream. 25 bits a second can still get my 1080i. No problem when I'm uploading. You just put a little delay, so there's a 20-second delay on my streams. It's no biggie. The other thing, and this is very important, and I want to make sure I recap that also, when you go to open your Streamlabs on your computer, you right-click and you run it as administrator. That will make sure that this number here for CPU stays low, so you can upload and stream with no problem. Your GPU is kind of strictly for what you're seeing right now on your screen, and even if it's a bit shit, if you can still function with everything on low and you're still uploading at a high pixel rate so your people can watch 1080i or 1440 or even 720 like we were talking about before, this is what needs to be optimal for you. This is optimal for you as to what you're seeing on your screen and what you're playing, and for it to be nice and silky smooth for you. But if you're streaming, which is what we're doing here, the point is you want it to go out looking great. So sacrifice a little bit of eye candy for yourself so your viewers enjoy what they're watching. I am going to go ahead, and because this video sitting down here not finished is actually driving me up a fucking wall. I got to get to it. I got to go finish editing that. I'll probably be done. We're going to upload that, what's today? Sunday? So we're going to upload this Tuesday. So YouTube, Twitch, if that's wherever you're following me at, do not be surprised when you see Ninja Nation Gaming is live or has uploaded a video, because it is no longer going to be this point, from here on out. There's no more the Joker, there's no more Mike the Fam, there's everything. Instagram, Twitter, all of it is Ninja Nation Gaming, because we are now building our team and it's not just me anymore. So I will see you guys for the next one. I hope this helped you out a little bit. Much love as always, my ninjas, and you know the deal here. As we always say, don't die.